Welcome to another episode of the Online Prosperity Experience podcast. You're about to hear your host, Prosper Taravinga's powerful digital marketing strategies and actionable tactics that you can use right now. Prosper has helped more than 50,000 people from over 10 countries to create meaningful businesses that are profitable and enjoyable. Listen to this podcast so that you too can build your own business with less stress and overwhelm. Let's get started.
Start writing content that converts online traffic into paying customers. I believe you've all heard the statement that content is king. All hail content, all hail. It reminds me of King Julian. King Julian. Fantastic. All right. So obviously everyone knows that a really good way for you to drive traffic to your website and preferably get good rankings, you need to have content on the internet. The reason why that is because people come to the internet to get information. And if they're getting that information from your website, then obviously then they get to know you, like you, and trust you. And we all know that people do business with those that they know, like, and trust. So, as they always say, content is king. And everybody knows that a good way to good rankings, good customers that pay, stay, and refer is paved with original content. When was the last time you actually wrote something that meant something to your audience, that actually engaged them, that educated them and inspired them to want more, be more, and have more, while providing them with absolute value and positioning you as a go-to person for your audience and for the service that you are providing? Let me tell you something. I've worked with a lot of coaches, consultants, and small to medium business owners, and all they ever want to do is serve their clients. They don't want to write nothing. They don't want to podcast anything. They just want to stand in front of their audiences so they can deliver their consulting, training, information, expertise, and paid speaking gigs. But let me tell you something. How are people going to know who you are? How are people going to buy into your story? How are people going to know that you are the right kind of person with the right kind of product to give or get rid of their pain? Like I mentioned, if you mention writing, whatever, most small business owners start shivering in their shoes. I can literally see them through, my Zoom call with them. The fear of writing is widespread in many business owners. And, they will do anything to avoid writing even a single sentence. And in fact, they don't even have, they don't even have to if they can just use maybe somebody in their team, or just buy what we call canned content, from anybody who's selling that piece of information, just so that they can tick a box on their proverbial to-do list that they've actually written a blog. Let me tell you something. Like I said, people are coming to the internet to get information. And if you're not providing any information, then obviously you're missing out on the right kind of clients with the right kind of pain that you can solve problems for. So, do you want content that actually brings you more leads and sales? I'm going to put in a shameless plug here. If you go to www.livelongdigital.com.au and look for our SEO copywriting service, it basically, we create content that actually converts online traffic into paying customers. Our SEO content writing doesn't have to get more visitors to your website. It actually helps convert them from interested onlookers into actually people that actually pay, stay, and refer, which is why we're in business anyway, to provide information to those that will be giving us money so that we can enjoy the lifestyles that we dream of, or the ones that are sold on deceptive Facebook ads. So obviously there are a lot of websites that actually claim that they provide maybe fresh new content for websites of any kind. Especially I find this in the financial sector, where they all buy content from one particular source, and it's all just spun content, which any other financial or person would have that sort of content. Yes, it's easy. Not everyone can write informative content, and there's a lot of red tape in a lot of industries and things of that nature. But let me assure you about one thing. All right, new content for websites has to be fresh, it has to engage, it has to be informative, and it actually has to work in such a way that you, as the website producer or the content producer, are actually giving value and positioning yourself instead of being a me too, either financial planner or coach or consultant, just spinning content that other people are already putting out there. Now, the problem with that copy, that has often been recycled or simply had paragraphs repositions or spun, it means that this content could have been generated, by anyone. So it's not unique to you, okay? The result is this content is not fresh, it does not contain your voice, and it will be recognized as canned content and will not be indexed by major search engines. And in this instance, we're talking about Google. So canned copy, as what it's called, is actually comprises of maybe articles or snippets of what some sort of industry body has put out there, blog posts or any other written material that is sold separately or repeatedly to anyone who has the money to buy it or understands what is in that piece of content. And it's often offered through various sites, some of which just offer maybe minor changes, and sometimes it's not even changed at all. You can go to Financial Planner number 1 and still find the same piece of content to Financial Planner number 2, and there's no differentiation in the marketplace. So when you start using this type of material, you definitely won't be indexed by Google, and it will actually result in a severe lack of traffic to the website. The reason being, search engine spiders actually recognize this as what is called duplicate copy. All right, I'll tell you something. Google lied to us, and they're going to do whatever it takes for them to save face. Now, the lie that they perpetrated to everybody else is if you type any certain keywords or if you type any information into Google, they want you to believe somebody is sitting at the Google office typing away and answering all the questions that everyone on the internet is asking. But that's not it. That information comes from websites like yours and mine, all right? And then it's how you tell your own unique story with your own SEO-infused content that actually makes the difference, and that's where you actually start ranking, all right? So, at the end of the day, if you publish, recanned or reused content, it actually brings down your search rankings, and the site that has that original version of that information is indexed, and all the other sites with content that has come from the same place is actually punished by Google by not being indexed. So it actually starts looking like that information has been plagiarized, and plagiarism is also a very big issue. And a particular phrase or sequence of words, may sound great and it looks like you're doing stuff or putting content out there, but if you did not write it, please, you can't use it, all right? The laws governing plagiarism are actually really clear. I mean, I'm not trying to threaten you or scare you into submission here and use our services or use other services from other writers, but it's actually in your best interest to have content that belongs to you out there, because the laws governing plagiarism are quite clear. And websites that are using, information from other people could, you could find yourself embroiled in a lawsuit that you can't afford to be engaged in right now. And the law allows for, obviously, fair use, but, it's extremely limited as to what it is that you can do. So, you could paraphrase what other people are doing, but do not copy directly, word for word, information from other people's websites, okay? And there's some legitimate copy sources that you can use, but there's so many that are not up to scratch, just simply because they might be using people that are not English speakers or native English speakers. So you really want to make sure that if you're going to be using a third party, they actually authenticate that the content that they're giving you is not plagiarized and is not duplicate content, and you have no doubt that whatever piece of copy that you're going to be putting on your website, is not going to come back and haunt you. I mean, while this does not happen often, but, another problem often exists when you don't have original copy on your website. You're just obviously going to be sleeping with your eye open. Why not just create information that would definitely be to your own favor, instead of you borrowing stuff from other people, which they might just come and grab and eventually maybe grab your business in the process. Okay, so there are only so many ways to say the same thing, but sometimes copy can actually be flagged as duplicate or borrowed content if it's not original. So unfortunately, if your site contains a lot of duplicate content, some search engines, especially Google in this instant, it might determine it as not a trusted site, and it might not receive the credit that you have worked so hard to create. One bad apple can actually ruin the whole basket. Even if the website owner was unaware that the site or the copy was either plagiarized or duplicated from another site, it doesn't matter. So in my opinion, the best solution to put out great content out there is just to simply write your own content. All right. If you're not a good writer like I myself, English is not my first language. This is what I do. Every single day I sit down and create this podcast. This podcast then gets transcribed. And the words that I would have used are definitely going to be used in a blog that we can write, and then we can then repurpose that blog into social media posts. Okay, so obviously it comes on with the way I speak, my voice, my mannerisms, and things like that. So I just encourage you to be authentic out there, share your passion with your readers, and it actually works. You know why? Like I said, people are coming to the internet to learn a little bit more about you. If you're just gonna put Me Too content out there, then how are you differentiating yourself from the marketplace? Because if you look at it, the same words you're using for consulting, for training, information, or whatever expertise you're putting out there are the same, words that your competitors or other people in your industry are doing. So how are you going to differentiate that? It's by telling your own story, by controlling the platform on which you will be telling your own story. So this is something that you can actually make sure you've got going in your business, just so that it becomes profitable and enjoyable. So when you start telling your own unique story, with your own copy, then that's when content starts becoming king. All right. That's because content actually drives a lot more traffic to your website. It strengthens your brand, and it actually connects you with your customers. And it's precisely what, if you would engage with somebody who knows how to do SEO copywriting, would actually offer you. Because once you engage your audience, you educate them, you inspire them to want more, be more, and have more, you actually are providing value. You do realize that people get paid in direct proportion to the value that you're bringing to the marketplace. So we do have a team of expert copywriters who can actually write content that adheres to your brand guidelines and tone of voice, but it also follows the best SEO practices to help your website rank better. And the result for that is quality content that actually brings you a lot more traffic, leads, and sales. All right. So there's 4 steps for you to actually get great content, created out there. One thing is, we should realize that people value their time, people value their money more than anything else. So when you're putting content out there, grab people's attention super quick. All right. So when a visitor visits your site, and is unable to find what they're looking for right away, or the content does not quite grab their attention very quickly, you've automatically lost them. They'll move on to the to the next best person in the search engine there, who provides that information cheaper, better, faster. Okay. And you literally have between 3 to 8 seconds to actually engage your visitor before they actually move on. So engaging content that is written in your brand's unique voice is exactly what it is that you want. You might outsource your your copywriting or your content writing, and this can be a leap of faith based on what I've told you earlier on. So you definitely want somebody who can write your content that actually ranks in Google, and it actually converts at a high rate. But you also want somebody who can actually mimic your tone of voice and use the same maybe phrases or language that maybe your customers are using. Because what I just said was in my own language. If I start speaking in a way that you don't understand, do you think that you'll be able to understand me? All right. So you definitely have to make sure that whatever you're putting out there, you are creating for and relating to the audience that you're going to be wanting to talk to. Because as soon as you attract the right kind of people with the right kind of pain, you would definitely be able to sell them whatever product or service that you have and give them the right payoff that they're looking for. And speaking of a payoff, you want to make sure that your content is actually fulfilling their needs. Okay. You've gotten people's attention. Now what? Okay, you have to quickly meet them where they are. You already know, they're interested in your content and they've stuck around enough, but you have to show them that you understand their needs and that you can fulfill those needs with your product or service. In other words, you want to help people by actually helping them. When somebody clicks onto your content, give them something that would then give them an aha moment immediately, in order for them to then say, you know what, if this person is giving me this in content for free, I can only imagine what it is that I might get if I start paying them. All right. So make sure that you go into great detail on why your product or service is the right one for them, and explain the benefits of selecting your product or service, because content is really critical to help your website rank higher in search engines, especially like Google. But not all content brings in the right kind of traffic. Customers who buy your product or your service. All right. So if you know the right keywords that they're searching and you've got the right information that they're looking for, which immediately solves a sort of a problem that they might be having, then you have automatically increased the trust they might have, on your business, because obviously they are still suspects and they suspect that you might not be the solution provider they're waiting for. But at the end of the day, I tell you, if you actually have an understanding of who they are, what it is that they are looking for, and you literally, solve their problems with the content that you have, it makes it easy for them to pick up the phone and start talking to you. The reason why is because people do not want their intelligence insulted. So if you speak above them and you are not speaking to them, with your content, and if the content is just being, spun like we mentioned earlier on, then obviously you're not communicating anything. You haven't clarified your message. So why would anyone want to spend a dime with you if you can't even explain your way out of a parking fine or a speeding ticket? Okay, so make sure that you can, fulfill their needs immediately, and then they can actually instantly see the value of what it is that you are bringing to the table. And for you to do that, you should also start engaging the prospect or somebody who's come to your website with questions, okay? Because if you ask questions, it will make people think. Asking a question and providing a great answer can actually be much more effective than simply just asking them open-ended questions, all right? So sometimes your visitors may not actually know the answer to the questions, but if you provide a great answer, it actually shows that you've got a solid grasp of your area of expertise. Because if somebody can articulate a problem that you have so eloquently in a way that you will be like, oh my God, that is me. That's what I have. They actually assume that you've got the solution to their problem. Okay, so that is why when you do come to Live Long Digital for your copy and for us to work with you to start ranking on your SEO, we first of all start by understanding your business, because the first step in our process is to do a deep dive on your business. We dissect what your customers are searching for, what you need, and gain an understanding of the long and short term business goals. So you should do the same with your customers as well, by providing them maybe a section within your website that has frequently asked questions. All right, because nobody wants to pick up the phone and ring you and just be told, yeah, a lot of people ask us that same question, and you make the customer look stupid. Nobody ever wants to look stupid in front of a stranger. Okay, and additionally, you that frequently asked questions can actually answer questions that your visitor may not even know that they had. And it's a way of providing valuable content to them, and it actually engages in their thought process. And when somebody can actually convince themselves that, wait a minute, this is definitely what I'm looking for, then you have done half of the you fought half the battle of trying to convince them that you are the right provider for the service that you're offering them. So what kind of questions could you ask? You want to maybe focus on basic types of questions: the who, the what, the when, the where, the how, the whatever it is, and each should actually provide some sort of an option for you to share a little bit more information that will be valuable to the visitor. All right, so sometimes if we just spray and pray with our marketing, people might not actually understand what it is that we do and why we are doing what we do. So we miss out on an opportunity to actually justify their failures, because they have been failing to solve the problem which you can solve. And we actually help our customers throw rocks at their enemies, which is them getting a solution from you at the very thing that has been keeping them up at night. All right. So at the end of the day, once you engage somebody in that sort of 3 to 8 second stint, you need to actually educate them on what to want, because a lot of people don't quite know exactly what to ask for when they show up at at a website. They're just scrolling, mindlessly scrolling, sleep scrolling, I call it, just hoping to find a solution. And if you've already answered the questions they might have in their head, and they always wanting to know what's in it for me, and if you're educating them on how you can best solve whatever problem that you have by showing them and hand holding them, so to speak, with your content, then you, my friend, will join the ranks of all those other people that are enjoying businesses that are profitable and enjoyable. And it's super, super easy for you to have this happening if you just have frequently asked questions. So we've got on our website, frequently asked questions just about any for any product that might be there. Somebody might come to our website and just finds it's all about SEO, and they're thinking, wait a minute, is this good for me or not? And we've got a frequently asked questions section that says, the purpose of optimizing your sites is to make it more appealing to search engines like Google and to help it rank high in search results. So most online users don't go past the first page of Google search. Live Long Digital's SEO services aim to make your website and brand on the top. And most businesses, including your competitors, are using SEO to stay relevant and visible online. Make sure you don't fall behind. So that's in the frequently asked questions. So somebody might be questioning in their head, do I need this service? Do I need this consulting? Do I need this training? Do I need this information? You are like sitting across to them and answering all their objections using your content. Now tell me, if you have spun this content, or if you have just recycled somebody else's content, can you and will you be answering the questions that your customers might have? I want you to answer that question in your head right now. Okay. So while you're doing that, provide as much information as possible. Like I said, people are coming to the internet to get information. And if they get it from you, why would they go anywhere else? Okay. And what you start creating in their head or in their own psyche is the process of reciprocity. Okay. If you give somebody something and they make use of it, the only way they can pay you back is usually with their credit card. In this instance, they are buying from you or referring work to you just simply because you help them scratch an itch that might have been worrying them a lot. Okay. And if you're starting to create real good content, it becomes a referral strategy. You know how many people tell me that they are doing word of mouth and hoping that people are talking about them at a barbecue when they don't even have a blog for people to actually refer other people to say, you know what, Sally actually answers this type of questions. Here's her blog, check it out. So where is the word of mouth happening? And in this instance, especially after the pandemic, there's now what is called word of mouth. How many people are clicking to actually get to you from referrals from people that have worked with you or people that are in the know of what it is that you do? So be informative, provide enough information out there just so that you become a reference point and you stay top of mind. And when people if you're top of mind, then you become the first person they think of whenever they have a problem. So being informative is not literally giving out the whole farm or the whole forest. Let me tell you something. A lot of people will never implement any of the stuff that we put out in the podcast, but they just know that we are giving that information. So if I'm giving it out for free, can you imagine what it would be if you're actually paying me and I'm actually sitting across from you and I want you to get results? Well, I'll let you work that out. So last but not least, your content definitely must be informative. I've been talking about this. And the visitor has to leave your site feeling that they've learned something valuable. And if you can tie them into your content by actually making them feel that they've learned something about themselves as well, then you have created a customer and at the very least a repeat visitor. Because if somebody gets value from whatever you're putting out there, they will definitely come back for more. All right, so at the end of the day, I could wax lyrical about putting out content out there. We all know people come to the internet to get information, and if your brand is the one that's providing that information, not only are you ranking high on Google, because like I said, Google lied, and they're going to be wanting to save face, and the only way they can do that is to support those people that are putting out original content that makes Google look good. All right, and at the end of the day, if you are actually creating for and relating to your audience, your content becomes king. That's because content actually drives a lot more traffic to your website. It strengthens your brand and it actually connects with your customers. And that's precisely, what our SEO copywriting services offer. So I'm going to be putting in a link, for you to check out our services so that you can actually start getting more visitors to your website and actually help you convert those visitors from just interested onlookers into actually paying customers. And when you do jump on our website, just look at how we have presented our information. Just look at how it's talking to you, not at you, and not making you feel stupid or anything else. And then just try and emulate. Don't copy. Emulate how we've created that environment on our website in order for us to create for and relate to our audience. And once we have that down packed, we know that we are actually engaging our audience, we're educating them, we're inspiring them to want more and work with us a whole lot more, and positioning ourselves as the go-to digital marketing agency for coaches, consultants, and small to medium business owners out there. So look at this. These are some great ways for you to actually inform your visitor and engage them in a purchase that would then either help you and achieve your dreams or help them fulfill their goals. And it's definitely how you present your content so you can demonstrate how your product or service can make their lives better or easier in some sort of way and save them time, money, and effort, and actually offer ways that they can use your product or service that will provide them with some sort of happiness attached to it. I really want you to win. I want you to create for and relate to your audience, and I really want that you are absolutely out there writing and creating awesome content. Our expert writers can write your copy or content in a way that actually sounds like you, utilizing your brand voice so you can focus your time and effort on other areas of your business. All right. So check out the link that comes with this podcast. And I just want you to just sit back, measure your success, and you can adjust accordingly because everything is working and you're actually reaching your audience with the right kind of information at the right time. And you're actually educating them to want more, be more, and have more so that you can now have a business that's profitable and enjoyable. So like I said, content is king. And I just wanted you to have these 4 steps that will help you create great content that will definitely help you connect and sell more, from the people that are just wandering internet explorers to people that are actually paying, staying, and referring. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, let's continue the conversation in the Live Long Digital community. Become a Live Long Digital community member today. This community is for ambitious entrepreneurs and small business owners with the drive to take control of the future of their businesses and achieve huge success without stress and overwhelm. As you heard, Prosper can help you by teaching you marketing strategies that work. So look no further than the Live Long Digital community of entrepreneurs and highly successful business owners. Join our community today. Find us on www.community.livelongdigital.com.au. Network with other driven entrepreneurs and find the expert guidance you need to take your business to the next level. www.community.livelongdigital.com.au